Hello YouTube. This is Tuesday, August the 11th, 2020, and this is my 37th video and my third Raspberry Pi video. And the topic today is a text editor. I'm going to compile a text editor, and we're going to compile the DTE5.1 editor on a Raspberry Pi Zero. And I'll be the versions DTE 5.1, Raspberry Pi, Noobs. This is the most recent Noobs version on RaspberryPi.org, I think. GCC is 8.3, and Ncurses is the system default. Whatever version of Ncurses is at the system default. And DTE is Doug Thomson's editor. It's a public domain editor and written for MS-DOS PCs and HP UNIX machines, and it uses the WordStar command keys. And it was Doug's editor was, well, this version was released in February 1991, so almost about 30 years ago. And I will be compiling this on a Raspberry Pi Zero. There's my Raspberry Pi Zero right there. It's a $5 computer and running Linux. That's a Raspberry Pi, and I've got a USB dongle for my Wi-Fi. This is a Raspberry Pi Zero W, and this one has the Wi-Fi built in. It's just a little small little computer about the size of a credit card, and it has the power, the computing power, probably that HP UNIX system that they were using back in the mid-1980s. Let me get this out of the way. Okay, I've got my directory. Let's see. Let me show the and this is the CPU info. There's my Raspberry Pi Zero, and GCC version, 8.3. And when I compile software with GCC, one of the first things I do is check the version of GCC, make sure it's a newer version. Let's see. So let's see. Here's my source code. Let's just unseal. This. And there, it just appeared on my screen over here. That's my directory of files, and you can see that all the file names are in uppercase. DTE 5.1, well, that's it right here. It is still available in a number of archives on the internet. Just search for DTE 5.1, and you should be able to find the source code for DTE. And back then, when this archive was created in 1991, all the file names are in uppercase. That was probably done on a PC when they transferred it up to the Simtel 20 archive. Now, I'm going to be using that makefile to compile DTE. So if we were to cat makefile, Linux is file name is case sensitive for the file names, so we have to convert all of these uppercase. Well, let me just cat. Now this is if I do the uppercase file name, and this is the makefile for the UNIX System V, and you can see all of these file names were originally lowercase. And I have a utility on my Raspberry Pi to convert the file names to lowercase. And over here you can watch them go to lowercase. Alright, so now I should be able to cat from this. Now if we were just to make the make command builds the source code. There were a few. Let's see how far this gets. Okay, let's go back up here. Oops, right here. And it's suggesting that we provide declarations for those functions in the they are in the standard lib over here. So let's and Doug has a header file where he puts all of his common includes, defines, and types and function prototypes. So let's see. Now, if it was for Turbo C, he's got it included there, but let's include this out here for everybody. Now, whenever I modify somebody else's code, I put my initials and date that I did that. So let's save this. Save. Okay, and then come back over here. And make. And we get rid of a number of warnings, compiler warnings. All right. Let's go up here a little bit. This is in this find replace source code. So let's get out of this one. And the find replace. It does not like those escape sequences. So let's go down to line number 1071 right here. And it does not like that escape sequence right there. That's what it's warning about. So let's make this put my initials in the date and come down here. And let's change that escape sequence to hex. Okay, the next line above that, let's see, is saying 1068, and that's this line. And put my initials. And it does not like that escape sequence right there. So let's change that to hex. Okay. The next one is line 998. 998. This line here. Put in my initials for changing this line. Well, I'm saving the original and changing the line below it is what I'm doing. In case anybody wanted to know what the original line was. And it's that sequence right there. That's what it's complaining about. So let's see here now. I'm going to move this escape sequence on to the end of the line. All right. The next warning is on line 256. So let's go up here to line 256 right here. And it's just finding the minimum of 2 values. I don't know, that may have been a macro back then. I don't know if compilers still do this, but I'm going to use a different method here. Okay, let's take off this min. And I am going to use the that question mark tertiary operator. And that's the tertiary operators. If this is true, then return that first value. If this is false, then return the second value. So that's the same thing as a min function. So let's save this and come over here and compile. All right. So now we've got down to the hardware system 5. So we can close out of this file. And I believe it's this file right here. And it does not like the end curses. I guess they have not, the news distribution does not include the curses package. So let's install the in-curses package. Let's see, this is sudo apt get. Now this command, sudo apt get, that just updates the list of packages. We want to install the latest packages, and while that is doing, let's see, Doug, this was written by Douglas Thomson, 89 to 90, and he released this source code into the public domain. He was an instructor, and I like the way that he commented his code. He gave the name, purpose, and the date that he wrote this, so it's, and commented his code very well. So let's go over here to this one, and let's search the cache for incurses. And there are a lot of references to incurses. And we are going to install apt get whatever is in the default package here. Let's see, this one right here. This was written 30 years ago, so I'm sure any version of incurses will be fine. Let's just use the system default for curses, incurses. And install. And while that is installing, over here in our source code, let's just comment this out. And that was the old AT&T curses. And let's see, this is FMD 20. And we are going to include the in curses package or header file. Put my initials. Okay, it is, and it just happens to be the version of curses is 6.1. And that's fairly recent, that's 2018, so that should be fine. Let me go over here to this one, let's see here, and save it, and then come over here, and make it. Alright, so we got a little further. Let's get up here to the... Alright, so it's telling us that GCC no longer implements VAR args. Let's see, that should be over here. There it is, VAR. It no longer implements that, and it says revise our code to use a standard arg. So let's do that. There's the Doug has his function prototypes, and there's and that's a variable argument right there, those ellipses. So let's go down here to error, and change this. Now, normally I try to, whenever I edit code, I try to edit the code in the same style as the author. But this one has got some changes. It's rewritten for a different package, so I'm going to write this in a slightly different style, just to draw attention to it. There's our variable argument. And I put the integer up here in the argument list. And down here, we just need to make one change. Let's see. And the new style, it just tells the VA start, the variable argument starts after the kind. So let's put kind here. All right. And here is the prototype for error. Now I am going to comment this out. Over here, now this common header file, this is where Doug has most of his function prototypes. And down here, there's error. I would prefer not to have function prototypes in multiple places. So I am going to comment that. Comment this one out. And let's use the prototype from this function. Over here. All right. Let's see. This is a slightly different style of prototype. So let's save this, and we can get out of here, and we need to go back up here. Okay, I think we've got everything ready to remove or comment out the VAR args. And let's include std arg. save this, and then come over here. And make. That's it. Looks good so far. Alright, so let's see. Let's go back up here. It does not like conflicting types for malloc, and that's on line number 87. So let's come over here to line 87. Now, I prefer not to redefine the functions from the library, so I'm going to comment this out. And save. Okay, come back over here and make it. Okay. Let's see here. All right. And now we've got the warnings from the incurses package. It's expecting that the function to return an integer and have an integer argument. That's my put character. So let's come over here. There's my function, my put character. So let's change this. And make this have an integer. And an integer. I guess we really should return something since we've got an integer there, but we'll just assume put C is going to return something. And that would work. Let's see. So let's save the oops. Let's get back up to our prototype here. Okay, there's our prototype. So let's go to our prototype. Comment out the original. And make this an int. And this an int. Okay, now let's save it. Okay, then come over here. And make. And that got rid of a few errors. Let's see what we got here. Go back up here. That's the IO control stuff. Let me come up here. And we just need to add some header files. Include. IO control. And since we added that, we need to all of these defines are in the types header file, so let's include that. And let's save. And then come over here. And let's make it. Wow, it actually compiled. Let's see. So let's come up here. Those are just that's some standard UNIX headers. Let's just include. And save this. And come over here and compile it. Yeah, that got rid of a lot of our warnings. Let me see. We've got one here. I was looking for a prototype, and that Doug wrote a function, and that is over here in his find replace. Oh, let's see. So all we need is to copy this function prototype over here. And let's put it right here. Okay, let's close out this window. And I added that prototype. So let me put my initials. Save it. And come over here. And make it. Let's see here. We've only got 3 left. Let's take care of this wait warning. That's going to be an easy one. We just include the wait header file. And let's save it and come back over here and make. Alright, now we've only got these 2 warnings, and they're both on the same line. So let's come over here and go down to that line. So this line right here is the one it does not like. And that's a string copy, so that has to be, those are strings that he's copying, null terminated strings. So let's get us a structure for the password field. Let's see, password. And come down here to this line. Put my initials out here. And we need, let's see, that password. It's going to be the get password user ID. Get user ID. change this line to password. The name field. Alright, that looks good. Now we just need to come up here to the top and include that password header file. Password. Let's save it. Okay, then come over here to this one. Oops, where am I at? Okay. Make. Alright, that's all of our compiler warnings. There is another warning, but I am not going to make an attempt to change this. That's just a warning for a make temp. And so if we do a directory, here's our executable DTE, and we can run DTE. Since this is, let me close our source code. Now, if you have never used a WordStar editor, I would recommend opening that file first, the DTE help file, and let's open that one with the text editor. Yeah, we're using the WordStar commands, and Doug wrote this for his distance education students in Australia, and they were using dial-up modems, 300, 1200, and 2400 baud modems. That was back in the late 80s, 90s, where broadband did not exist. Let's just go down a little bit. And these are the how to move your cursor. So if we go over here to this one, just do Control X, should go line down. Control E, line up. Control C, page down. And then to quit the editor, it's the Control K, and you can see this up here. It's a two key command sequence, and there we go. We have compiled Doug's text editor on a Raspberry Pi Zero, and we just ran it. And let's see here. Now on my Google Drive, I will put the original DTE 5.1 source up there, and then I will zip all of these that has my modifications to run on the Raspberry Pi Zero, and I will put those on my Google Drive. And if anybody's interested in Doug's text editor on a Raspberry Pi Zero. So thank you for watching.